I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment in which I had my own room, but I liked sleeping in bed with her whenever I was staying there. Our 2 bedrooms were at the end of a hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor. I remember that it was in the middle of the summer, and my mom had a window open in her room, directly above the bed. I woke up that night, in the middle of the night, and I remember sitting up, seeing our cat sitting in the door frame of my mom's room. Her door was open, and you could partially see into my bedroom. It was strange, though, because our cat was a huge snuggler and was always typically in bed with us. As I watched him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mom and wake her up. In the 3 or 4 seconds it took her to wake up and ask me what was wrong, we both looked up, and in the doorframe there was a man standing by my door, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me out the screen window. We were on the first floor, and it was maybe a 3-foot drop to the ground. She quickly followed, and we were able to start screaming for help, and someone called 911. The police came, but they didn't see any signs of forced entry. The only thing they found was our front door unlocked, which led them to believe the man must have exited that way. The strange thing was, though, that my mom swore up and down she had locked that door that night with the deadbolt and the chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning out the kitchen and opened up our water heater closet. She found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The man had been in our house and had been hiding until we fell asleep. I was 14 years old, walking home at night, and had the worst feeling about that Jeep. So backstory. I grew up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, a semi-small city with a low crime rate, at least back in the day when I was 14. It was such a quiet, nice city that almost nobody locked their doors. People would say hi to each other on the street. You could pretty much go to anyone's house for dinner, and your parents wouldn't be too nervous about it. And you could walk home by yourself at night from your middle school basketball game without fear, which is what I was doing this particular night. It had been a long game and went later than normal, and my parents had to both work in the morning, so they didn't go, which was fine. They went to all my other games. It was an 8-minute walk from my middle school to my house, so there were no concerns about my safety. So I'm walking, wearing a pink sweater and jeans over my basketball jersey. My hair was a sweaty mess, but I was in a good mood because it was a good game, so I was walking in a relaxed fashion, unconcerned and unaware, and that's when I felt it. I can't explain how I knew, but I just knew I was in some sort of danger. I looked around me, and parked near the blacktop fence was a Jeep with its lights off. I ducked my head and walked away from it, hoping that I didn't catch their attention. No such luck. The Jeep started following me. It pulled up next to me, and I saw the window open, and I booked it. I didn't look back, I just ran. I had such a negative feeling about that Jeep. I couldn't stop until I could see my parents' house, and I thought I was safe. Just as I stopped to catch my breath, I heard an engine rev behind me, and that same Jeep was tearing down the street, beelining towards me. I was in a position where I couldn't run anywhere safe in time. There was a big open space near the road, so I just stood there, frozen in terror. I was backing up and must have looked every bit the victim with my sweaty hair and white face, because just as the Jeep pulled up near me and the door opened, some old guy across the street yelled something. I don't even know what the guy said, but the Jeep's door slammed shut and it peeled away. I didn't even get to thank the guy, which I felt bad about, because he might have just saved me from something horrible. I just ran home. I threw myself inside and slammed the door behind me, scaring the shit out of my mom, who was just heading to bed. When she asked me what was wrong, I told her. She went to wake up Dad. We considered calling the police, but since I didn't have a facial description or a license plate, there wasn't much to give them. All I knew was that it was a dark Jeep and it chased me. That night, my parents made the decision to never let me walk home from school again. A week later, the newspaper mentioned a gang rape of a young woman in a parking garage near my town. A Jeep was mentioned,